Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my Dragon Ball Super episode 126 review. And even before I get into the review, I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a story. It's a little bit of a funny, like, what the fuck story, which is that as I was writing the review, uh, it was pretty much all it seems that the breaker in our house blew, so yeah, I was so afraid I lost all the information, all the stuff I wrote down for this review. But in the end, everything just kind of ended up getting restarted. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a fun little story that there was a bit of a delay in getting this review out, but only because the breaker blew. But everything was back, and then I just finished writing out the review. But yeah, anyway, let's get into the review itself. And let's okay, just and to start off with, let's talk about how Vegeta took out Toppo. And to be honest, after the episode was over, I kind of sat here for a couple minutes thinking about how I felt about it. And to be honest with you, I think it's fine because, truth be told, when I looked at the broader scope of this episode, I think the more important thing to take away in order to take away from basically this entire episode and this whole fight between Vegeta and Toppo is not how Toppo was defeated, but rather why he was defeated. Toppo, as a character, has pretty much always been about honor and justice and doing what's right. But when he, but in the last couple episodes, the moment Toppo evolved, the moment Toppo pretty much powered up with the God of Destruction power, he let himself be consumed by the power and gave up everything that made him who he was so he could ensure Universe 11's victory. Whereas Vegeta used every bit of his own power, not any other kind of power, and remained who he was in the end. So I guess you could say that it's best to look at this fight less as one based on physical power and more a battle of ideas and more a battle of ideals and pride almost. And Vegeta won in the end because he didn't give up anything in order to defeat Tobo, other than pretty much other than all of his reserves of power he had in order to all the reserves of power he had in order to match Tobo's power with that big explosion thing, the big explosion. Which I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a. I'm not gonna lie when pretty much. I'm not gonna lie, it was again. I guess I should expect it at this point from. I guess I should expect it at this point, but I'm sorry, but basically using the whole all those little all those little flashback sequences from I want to Dragon Ball Z Kai was it was just a punch in the nuts to pretty much reminding us how good the old animation was. Like, don't get me wrong, the animation quality has definitely improved throughout Super at the very moment that the from the very moment the Universe 6 arc started. But it's like, yeah, you're basically waving the old animation in front of our face, saying, "Hey, look how good the old animation was, and now look at this stuff." It's like again, the animation was good in this episode, but it's like, yeah, when you end up using old clips from old Dragon Ball Z, it's like you're just kind of saying, almost in a way, you're giving us a big fuck you, to be honest with you. But yeah, and now, again, if you still want to debate Vegeta's victory, I think you could argue that he's on like because Topo's only a candidate god destruction, he probably doesn't have as much control over such power compared to a full fledged god like pretty much Beerus or like pretty much Beerus. So yeah, if you want to debate it, if you want to debate the kind of if you still want to debate the physical aspect of it, I think that is a very valid argument that he probably doesn't have as that he doesn't have that he's only a fledged because he's a fledgling, and a fledgling with using the power, and only a candidate for God of Destruction, you could argue he definitely doesn't have as much control, and he probably, in the future, he probably would learn control if he was to actually take the job of God of Destruction. So yeah. Um, Also, like I said before in the last video, I imagine Android 17 and Frieza. I think them prolonging their little battle with Toppo. I think also kind of very just slightly, probably ended up prolonging the battle long enough in order to just slightly pretty much increase any chance increase the chance that Vegeta had of taking out Toppo. So yeah, like I said, in their battle with we don't know how long Toppo's actually been in that form, but we imagine that it was long enough in order to drain at least some of his power. So yeah, and just also we can also say that on Frieza's point, because only because Frieza has had previous experience in dealing with destruction energy, he also has a much higher possibility of surviving surviving the battle with Toppo. Only just slightly, but even though he was getting tossed aside, like he still had a much greater chance of helping in Toppo, of weakening Toppo in a way. So there's that too. Yeah, or at least it's greater than Android 17's. Now, from here on, the stuff I'm about to talk about is extremely spoiler heavy. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I would just end the video now. Good? Okay. Now, the end of the episode in the preview, we see Jiren powering up and ready to go in, like all in. Like he's basically powering up to max and willing to go full force against the Universe 7 team. And after watching both the end, how the episode ended and the preview, both of those things just kind of reinforce something I've been afraid of. Which is, in order to remind everyone, we have 5 episodes left and 4 minutes if by chance if you happen to be going off the time left in the tournament itself. So that just begs the question: how is Jiren going to be defeated without it coming across as bullshit? Because honestly, I don't see any other way than a team up of Vegeta and Goku, both in Ultra Instinct form, being able to defeat Jiren. And I know there are people against Vegeta gaining that power in upcoming episodes, but aside from a draw, I don't see any other way of ending this. But yeah, for those who don't know, that was your spoiler. For anyone who doesn't know, that pretty much from what we learned, it looks like Vegeta in future episodes is probably going to gain Ultra Instinct, or in a couple episodes down the line is going to gain Ultra Instinct. So yeah, and since we're on the subject of Vegeta gaining the Ultra Instinct power, I may as well throw in my 2 cents, which is, honestly, at this point, I don't think I'm going to mind all that much, because I guess there is the argument that would completely trash Vegeta's development of saying that he doesn't need the same power as Goku, but we also know Vegeta has a. But the thing we need to remember is that Vegeta has kind of already taken the first step with his ascended form of Super Saiyan Blue. So if it's one of those things where if in the end Vegeta did end up getting the power of Ultra Instinct, for me it wouldn't affect who he is personally, because I think we know how Vegeta acts, and we know that Vegeta kind of just uses, when Vegeta powers up, he doesn't really see, aside from being cocky, I guess, he doesn't really see it as he never sees the power up as who he is. He always uses the power as just another power up, and and it's him who controls it. So I don't really. So even if Vegeta were to in fact gain Ultra Instinct, I can't really see it either affecting him or his development, to be honest with you, because in a small, like I said, again, I'm repeating myself here, but he has already taken the first step towards Ultra Instinct. If you think of of his ascended Super Saiyan Blue form, so yeah, from there it's just if it's actually going to happen or not. So, but yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.